On May 3rd, 2022, Caysen Allison allegedly Jose, a.k.a. Joe Ramirez, sending him to the hospital. He died that day. Police took Allison into custody, charging him with next day. He was held on $1 million bond for about a month. He bonded out in July of 2022 after his bond was reduced.
Of a former Belton High School student. Suspect Caysen Allison is accused of fatal fellow student Joe Ramirez in a Belton High bathroom back in 2022.
This comes after several trial delays and almost 3 years since the incident. 6 News reporter Sydney Walker was back at the courthouse. Sydney, what was today like?
Followed was Allison pleading not guilty. The witnesses were called to testify today, but overall today gave us a clearer picture of what went down in Belton High School hallways that May 3rd day. The prosecutor began in their opening statements revealing there is a recording of the incident. They also said that the conflict between Joe and Caysen began after an incident at a prom after party and that Joe swung at Caysen first, accompanied by 4 others in that bathroom. The defense countered by saying that Allison was not guilty of, as, quote, Caysen survived what could have very well been death or bodily injury by a group beatdown. The defense also made a motion to exclude photo and video evidence, which was denied by Judge Faulkner. The jury also saw security footage of the Belton High School hallways showing the students entering the bathroom and running out. This included video of Ramirez running out with a trail of blood behind him and eventually collapsing. Several witnesses took the stand today, including 911 dispatcher Amy Retz, security officer Philip Douglas Taylor, and teachers who responded to the scene.
2 staff members, 2 students, and a parent. In one of those calls, a girl identified Caysen, claiming she saw him running through the parking lot with a bloody nose. They then played security footage from several cameras showing Joe and 3 others walking into a bathroom, Caysen and another boy walking in shortly after. 5 boys, including Joe, then ran out of the bathroom and split up, with Caysen once again running out shortly after. We also saw footage of Joe running down the main hallway to the floor and then collapsing. Blood immediately began to pool as teachers and staff, quick to get to Joe, said, quote, his breathing was rapid and shallow. It appeared to me as if he hung. Another witness, the school nurse, said they gasped when they cut open Joe's shirt across his left chest. She also shared that a student that had been in the bathroom was brought to the nurse's office and was on the phone with his mom saying, quote, Case Joe. Now at this time,
Ramirez. Allison is facing and still Belton High School classmate Joe Ramirez in 2022. I was in the courtroom today while they played a video of the fight that took place in the bathroom on a cell phone. Another witness to take the stand was one of the boys inside the bathroom at the time of the incident. He was the young man who recorded an 8-second video of the fight. The video shows Joe Ramirez throwing the first punch to Caysen Allison. That's when Allison is shown swinging back in his right hand. The two can be seen shifting to the corner of the bathroom, continuing to fight. Seconds later, Joe's brother is shown lunging towards Allison's friend, and 4 boys are seen fighting one-on-one fights in that bathroom. During that testimony, the defense asked the witness why he started recording and if Joe liked to have his fights recorded. The witness answered yes. That same witness said it didn't seem like Caysen wanted to fight, and he stopped recording after he heard a scream and got scared. The trial finished.
News 10's Madison Herber was there and has more on how day 4 unfolded.
The friend who was in the bathroom with Allison during the fight, Chris Biddles, and the medical examiner who performed the autopsy on Ramirez testified today. But first, cross-examination resumed on Joe Ramirez's stepbrother, Josh Rios. The defense asked Rios about getting to school on May 3rd, 2022. Rios told the court that a friend brought him. Video from the school parking lot showed Rios arriving to school in the driver's seat. Rios said Ramirez told him that he had a fight with Allison in the parking lot that morning. However, the footage shows no fight happened. It shows Allison walking in front of Rios's car and then walking toward the school entrance, who was 17. When asked to recall those moments in the bathroom again, the defense asked, "You can't say Caysen had no reason to be afraid," to which Rios replied, "I do not believe he was afraid. He could have left the bathroom when he saw us if he was afraid." Rios doubled down on his testimony from yesterday, saying they weren't in the bathroom to fight. It was a pit stop they made some days between classes. The defense came back with, "You didn't try to stop Joe when the fight started?" Rios replied with, "No, sir." After lunch, the court brought in Dr. Grant Hendon from the Dallas County Forensic Sciences Office, where photos of Ramirez's wounds were revealed. The photo showed these images had all of Ramirez's family in tears and covering their eyes. The first one described was the one that eventually damage to his left lung, heart, and injury to his coronary artery, which is responsible for blood flow. The second wound was also in the area of the lungs. The third wound were actually 2 wounds connected, meaning the tip in one place and exited in a different place. This wound was on Ramirez's buttocks. The fourth on the back of his left forearm. However, the order in which these wounds were obtained can't be confirmed through this report. The defense questioning that it also doesn't determine who was the...
Here we go again. We got this almost the same identical case that went down with Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. Now, 2 hours away from Frisco in Belton, Texas, you have Caysen Allison. Caysen Allison is being charged with unaliving Joe Ramirez. In the bathroom, it was supposed to be a fist fight, and they was getting it on. But this W boy, he brought to school, right? And while they were fighting, Joe Ramirez ended up getting and ultimately being unalive, losing his life. Now, there was no press, international or national press coverage. Nobody was being called DEI hires. People's houses and all kinds of stuff wasn't being put online. Nobody was talking about it because now this W boy is being accused of the same thing that Karmelo Anthony is being accused of. Now, we did some digging and we found out that the town is like 80%, like 56% W, right? It's a small percentage of black folks, and then you have Hispanics. Hispanics is like 11%. So it's kind of, listen, this thing is crazy, right? Like I said, they gave Karmelo Anthony and his family all kinds of hell. They said that the judge was a DEI hire. They even had their family had to move. They put their family's house and address all online. They called them all kinds of vicious and vile names and everything. But when it came to this Caysen Allison case that happened 3 years ago, the mother still hasn't got any justice, right? It's remained quiet. I mean, they over here now, they're saying a high school fight ended with one and another charge. The trial is now underway. Now, mind you, this trial took 3 years. Mind you, this trial took 3 years just to get underway, right? And the mom, she didn't have a big GoFundMe where she got a whole bunch of money, right? They didn't go down and want to interview her and show her crying and show how much of a Christian maybe she may have been. They didn't do none of that, right? But then Caysen Allen, now 21, confessed to unaliving Jose Luis Ramirez, 18, during a fight in the boys' bathroom at Belton High School back in May 2022, according to arrest affidavit obtained by the people, right? So, mind you, this happened back in 2022. How come y'all never heard of it? So how come this Karmelo Anthony thing is going down all over the country, right? Now everybody's talking about it, right? Allison's lawyer, Zachary Boyd, said in his opening statement that the 18-year-old acted in self-defense after finding himself forced to fight Ramirez in a group of his friends. Allison, who has been on house arrest ever since posting a $175,000 bail back in July 2022, is facing anywhere between 5 to 99 years in prison, right? But this is it. He posted $175,000 bail, right? Where he brought onto the school, in the school. They got into a fight. In the one time, the boy ended up being unalive, but instead of him having $1 million bail, he only had $175,000 bail. And he was able to post bail and be on house arrest for the last 3 years. The last 3 years. Not CNN, nobody covered this because it doesn't fit their narrative. It doesn't fit their narrative. I keep trying to tell y'all, man, we don't have no, look at what they're doing to us. We don't have no friends, right? A lot of you Latinos, Hispanics that don't like us, look at what they're doing to you. Look at we don't have a history of doing this to you guys, but look at what they're doing to you. Let's read some more. I began with opening statements on Monday, and on Tuesday, George was shown video of the stabbing that one of Ramirez's friends recorded inside the bathroom. The video allegedly shows Ramirez throwing a punch at Allison, and Allison responding by swinging at Ramirez right, in his hand. According to court documents, it then allegedly ends with Ramirez cornered before teenagers all run out of the bathroom. Man, this thing is real sad, man. Right? So they have all the teenagers running out of the bathroom, but this is the question that I'm asking. Why didn't Allison just fight? It was a fist fight. The boy was fighting with his hands. Why did he use, This is what I'm asking you, W conservatives. Why didn't Caysen Allen use his hands? Oh, that only applies to us, black and brown people. But when you guys do it, he was afraid for his life. He was inside there. He was cornered. He didn't know what to do. Forget him illegally having it on school premises. We're not going to talk about that, right? This is the hypocrisy and double standard, right? The arrest affidavit details the aftermath of the fight. Ramirez manages to leave the bathroom, but is seen on school surveillance video collapsing in the hallways. A short time later, comes out of his body, according to the affidavit. The school nurse then starts to perform life-saving measures on Ramirez, who was then transported to a local hospital where he was later pronounced unalive. The affidavit notes that Ramirez had been chest, back, leg, and arms. Wow. So he meant to do this, right? But then we hearing that he did that. He managed to flee to school, get all the way home, and he attacked a family member when he got home. So this guy, man, Allison left the school and returned home after the fight and was arrested a short time later, according to the affidavit. Covered is allegedly found at Allison's house per affidavit. Court documents show that additional charge was filed against Allison a few days, watch this, later on May 9th after he allegedly assaulted a family member, right? So we see here now that this kid was violent. So he not only did that, he came home and he assaulted a family member. And see, the conservatives and these black conservatives, everybody's saying mum and quiet on this because it doesn't fit their narrative, right? Remember, they called Karmelo Anthony a thug. He was raised by wolves and thugs. They threatened the judge, threatened the family's life. This kid had a 4.0 GPA, never been in trouble with the law, right? None of the facts have come out, but he was labeled a criminal and a thug. They said nothing about this case. Absolutely nothing. They stayed quiet, right? And this case is in trial now. The facts is coming out. I keep trying to tell y'all, man, y'all don't have no friends. You got to stick together because they create the narratives that suits them. They create the narratives that suit them. The media, look at the way the media handled this. Where's the media at on this? Where's the media on this case? Huh? Where are they? Why is he not being portrayed? He even had an alleged assault case filed against him from one of his family members. You guys still didn't come down. That shows you the mentality of how these people are, and what they think about us, We don't have no friends. I keep telling y'all that, man. And I think that what's going to happen is, I think if Caysen gets off, Karmelo will get off, because they can't set a precedent for courtrooms where people can use the Karmelo Anthony case as a case study for why the self-defense. Listen, in Texas, those W folks like their self-defense, they like their firearms, they like their weapons. They're going to uphold the self-defense cases. So I think that I don't think that he's going to really be in prison, because we're going to see what they do with this Caysen Allen situation that they're trying to keep quiet. Because mind you, he brought a knife onto the school, and this happened in the school bathroom, not at some track field school event, in the school bathroom where he could have just fist fought. He could have had a fist fight. They had a video. He wasn't getting rolled on. That he could have just had a fist fight. He chose not to. He chose to unalive somebody, and he had intent to do it. Man, I don't know, man. Listen, I got my eye on this story. I'm watching this trial. I'm gonna see how this thing pan out, man. Because how this thing pan out, it's going to be a reflection on the Karmelo Anthony case. So as more of this come out, I'll report more of this, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button. Subscribe to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.